Hello everyone, I hope you are all doing well today. This weirdly feels like the first video I filmed in autumn. I don't know, I think it's because the clocks here in the UK have just changed. It suddenly feels like someone has flicked a switch and we're just in the winter period. It's very cozy and very lovely, but I have noticed some things going on with my plants. I did kind of a mass water last night and I just looked everything over and oh my god, the amount of yellow leaves I took off, and I was just like, oh, things aren't growing as quickly. And whilst that is sometimes a little bit of I guess a relief coming into this time of year, because obviously plant care maintenance in certain aspects kind of dies down. You're not having to water as much. You do encounter other issues, like I have found pests quite a few times recently, particularly thrips, and it's fungus gnat season and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, in amongst that though, I have got some really exciting things going on, and I've got some new things that I haven't shown you yet, and I've just got some things that I would quite like to talk to you about and share. So yeah, I thought this morning I could just do a little updates slash plans, I was gonna say plans for the future, plans for plants going forward, because I've got a few things that, yeah, as I say, would just be kind of good to bounce off you and see what you think. But first, if you're new here, hi, my name's Claire and this is Yoli. I make videos all about houseplant care, sharing tips and tricks I've learnt over the years to help keep your plants happy and healthy. And yeah, I've got a complete mix of things that I want to take you through today, so I am genuinely really excited to be making this video. So yes, I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. So, as always, these are in no particular order, but I want to start with something that is, it might not look like much at the moment, but it is really exciting slash scaring me a little bit. And it's these seeds. If you're over on my Patreon, I did actually show these in the live chat the other day. Obviously, as I say, there's not a huge amount to kind of be wowed over at the moment. But these are Welwitschia mirabilis seeds. I will put the name on the screen because I'm not convinced I'm pronouncing that correctly. And basically, if you watch my other videos, you'll probably be aware of my weird plant series that I started a couple of months ago over on my YouTube channel. And oh my goodness, I have discovered so many incredible plants that I didn't even know existed. And I know I said in one of my recent Weird Plants videos that there was this one that was known as the living fossil plant, and basically it has been around since before dinosaurs were on Earth, and it can live for thousands and thousands of years. It's such an incredible plant, and you can actually grow it as a house plant. And at the time of filming that video, I hadn't seen what it could look like in a home environment, and if I can find some pictures, I will put them on the screen there. But when I was kind of doing post-production, kind of editing stuff for that video, and I was pulling pictures together, I was like, oh my god, this plant is amazing. And I do tend to get obsessed with things, and when I get obsessed, I need to, I don't know, if it's a plant, I'm like, I must find it, and I managed to find some. These were not easy to come by. I literally scoured the World Wide Web. I looked on Etsy. I saw some people selling little baby plants on eBay. They were so expensive, but I managed to get these seeds for about £30, and I think there's 5 in here altogether. I've heard that they're not particularly easy to grow. I know they're very susceptible to fungal issues. And yeah, I think it's going to be a massive learning curve for me if I can even get them to germinate. So I'm really excited about it. I'm so excited, and I'm going to document the process, and I hope be able to grow this incredible plant, because yeah, it is one that is, I mean, when I say different to anything else in my collection, it is on a whole nother level. And yeah, it would be a privilege to grow that plant. So I'll keep you updated with it, but I just wanted to kick off with that. And on the note of weird plants, weird rare plants, another one that I discovered from my Weird Plants series was the Cactus geometricus. And this has been, again, since I made that video, a wishlist plant, and one that I added to my collection fairly recently. I'll put a picture on the screen of what it looks like when it's big and mature, because it's absolutely insane. And Although again, there's not a huge amount to show right now, and I know it is a very, very slow grower from what I've researched. It is one that I am just really happy to have, and yeah, again, very different. Honestly, like, it is so fun discovering all of these plants. I know, like, in recent years, the like quote unquote rare plant world has become, in a lot of ways, much more accessible to like the everyday person. Like, you can go out to garden centres now and you can just, I mean, here in the UK anyway, and pick up some what would have been deemed very rare aroids and like very, very rare things that usually you'd only be able to get in a specialised place. And I think for that reason, the kind of what you might think of like commercially rare plants, although they are very much exciting me, don't get me wrong, some of the ones I'm going to show you today are probably in that category, but it's just really making me think, okay, like, what other plants are out there? Because I think, like I've said it before, and I know I'm going on a tangent now, but the word rare really does mean different things to different people. And right now I'm just like, plants that maybe they're not that expensive to buy, but maybe, I don't know, like there's not many people that grow them, or like, I don't know. I'm just getting excited by new things and new plants. So yeah, that's one that's exciting me. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling now and I'm going to get on with the rest of the plants. No particular order. Let's start here. This is just a very quick update, because if you watched my 4-day vlog video that I did recently where I documented, took you with me to like another plant swap and stuff like that, and got rid of some plants, and then did a plant haul, I did say at one point in the video, I had this Anthurium growing by my TV, and every single day you could see it getting bigger and bigger and bigger as the leaf sized up. It's almost finished hardening off now, and look how beautiful that is. That is such a gorgeous leaf. And I wasn't quite sure what this, I know it's a crystallinum hybrid, and I have been in touch with the seller and I figured out it's a crystallinum magnificum hybrid. And I've had it now for maybe, how long have I had this plant? Maybe about 9 months or so. It had given me other leaves, but I did have to chop them back because it had mealybugs. And I don't know if I've ever had mealybugs on an Anthurium before, but I didn't notice it until the leaf was really kind of like mottled and gross. And so I was like, I'm going to chop it back. But yeah, touch wood, it has been pest-free for a while now, and it's growing so beautifully. I've kind of created a little Anthurium corner over in my flats. Like, I had a bit of a rearrange of a lot of the plants on my shelves and just kind of repositioned them, and a corner that previously I was really quite neglecting because it's not the easiest to kind of like squeeze through and get to. I was like, I'm going to make that a corner for plants that I am so excited about and I really, really care about, and then I will go there more. And yeah, I've made that into a little sanctuary for my Anthuriums, and it is beyond exciting. I know I have spoken about my secret Anthurium collection in videos before. I feel like I might just show you it soon because there's so many exciting things going on that I am just so excited to talk about. And yeah, like, I talked to Ross about it, but obviously he's not, bless him, he's not particularly a planty person. He's like, oh yeah, it's a leaf. And I'm like, no, it's the most exciting leaf ever. So yeah, I'm kind of feeling like I might need to talk about it soon. But then another one that is really, really exciting me, and I didn't really know how I'd feel about this begonia. So I bought this begonia for myself, and I thought I'd like it. I didn't know how much I'd love it because it's not a green one. It's the begonia, I think it's U062 or something like that. And it's quite an unusual one, and I got it from the same place. I think I'm right in saying I got it from the same place that I got my Begonia Sinbad. And actually, the thing that kind of drew me in about this begonia is that it is, in a lot of ways, very, very similar to the Sinbad. Like, it's got an almost identical texture, and it just kind of feels like the same begonia dyed kind of reddy pink. And yeah, as you guys know, I'm usually very much a green plants gal, and this was a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. And I've got it in no drainage. I'm growing so many plants like this at the moment, and it's doing brilliantly. You can see all of those roots in there. And in fact, oh my God, on the note of no drainage and begonia and my Begonia Sinbad, this is one that I desperately need to repot. Like for the last few weeks, it started looking a little bit raggedy around the bottom. Can you see that? And it basically just needs more space. It has got so big so quickly. I'm having to water it pretty much every single day because it is drying out so quickly. And the bottom of it, if you have a look there, is really kind of like trunky and tree-like. Like this plant needs more space. And in one of my Patreon live chats the other day, I decided I was going to repot it and I could not get it out of this jar. And oh my goodness, I have said it before, but if you do grow a plant in a jar that's got like a jar top and goes in, you do run the risk of losing that jar forever, because I am now going to have to break this in order to safely get the plant out, which is a shame. It's a good jar. But yeah, I'm gonna need to smash the jar probably in the next few days. I've been wanting to do a kind of long plant choresy video because I've got a lot of things that I want to do and kind of chat through, but yeah, that is a job for another day. But one that does need doing quite desperately because I adore this begonia. Oh, it's also flowering there. Yeah, I absolutely adore it. And I would like to be able to continue to bring out the best in it, and currently it's looking a little bit sad, and that makes me a little bit sad. But let's come down here. I really am going in a very strange order. But the reason I brought this one down to show you, so this is the variegated dischidia that I potted up. It was previously growing on a coat hanger. And I potted this one up, took it off the coat hanger, kind of ripped away a load of its aerial roots because there was no other way of doing it, and potted it up, I think about 3.5, 4 weeks ago now. And I did, again, the exact same method that I've just shown you. I did no drainage, and I was like, I hope it's gonna be okay. And one of you guys messaged me on Instagram, and you were basically like, I got the exact same plant from the garden centre that you got yours from, and it was grown in the exact same way, and I tried to transition it to soil and it died. And I was like, oh God, I thought this would be fairly straightforward. So I have been watching this plant like a hawk. Like my eyes have been on it the whole time. I've been checking all of the growth. I did actually take a few more cuts just because I thought that a few sections I did might be too long to kind of successfully propagate. And so far, so good. I know it's only been 3-4 weeks, so that is very early days. But thank you so much for making me aware of this, because I thought this would be very, very hardy, and it turns out that perhaps it's not as hardy as I think. The good thing is I can see the start of some little roots. Like, can you see that there? Some little roots starting to come through in certain places. But I just am making sure that like this one never dries out. I'm keeping it really, really, really moist, keeping the little reservoir at the bottom filled. And yeah, if anything starts to go wrong, I will be getting it straight out, and I will be taking more cuts and making sure that I don't lose it. So yeah, but so far so good. Stay tuned with that one. And the one next to it, I actually don't really know why I brought this. Well, I do know why I brought it over to show you, but it's just an Alocasia that's making me really, really happy at the moment. And it's the Alocasia Bisma Silver. And oh my goodness, it's just such a gorgeous one. And it's very fast to grow as well. I've just got it by my window. It doesn't have any special conditions or anything like that. I'm growing it in semi-hydro. Oh my God, look at those roots. But yeah, it's just giving me the most beautiful growth. And the form of it actually is changing quite a lot as the plant sizes up, which is something that I find quite interesting. And I was kind of made very aware of this the other day because Emma, Good Growing, she texted me and she was like, look, my Bisma Silver, as it changes, that leaf is really different to that leaf. And I was like, interesting. And that kind of made me really, really look at mine. And like, yeah, if you look at that leaf down there, it's obviously very, very different to how it is when it starts sizing up. Like the lobing becomes a lot more spaced. It's almost completely, in fact, it is pretty much completely attached there. But the other thing that I'm noticing is as the leaves mature, they're almost getting rounder. Like, look at this one that it's just given me. It's almost very like lobe heavy, and then the main body of the leaf gets much shorter. So yeah, I feel like it's just an Alocasia that is visually very, very beautiful, but it's giving me some subtle variety that I'm really enjoying, and it's just kind of keeping me on my toes. It's also one that I'm finding, as I say, so easy to grow. It feels like a very robust, very hardy Alocasia. It's sizing up so quickly. So yeah, I got this one from, I think I got it from Grow Tropicals a little while back. That's right, I got it from Grow Tropicals because I got what I thought might be a bisma silver when I went to Wisley. I picked it up and it was labelled as something else, and I was like, what actually is it? Is it a hybrid? And very sadly, that one died within a couple of weeks of me owning it. I don't know what happened, but the rhizome was completely mushy. I think maybe I accidentally overwatered it, and I was so sad about it. And so I just went on the hunt for whatever this Alocasia might have been. And the bismuth silver was the one that looked the closest. I don't think it was the exact same type of Alocasia, but it's one that's kind of ticking that box. And I haven't thought about the other one that I lost in a while, so I think it's been a good replacement. But yeah, it's just one that I'm really enjoying growing, as I say, so I thought I would share it with you. And then this is the little Philodendron lynamii that I got at the last plant swap that I went to a few weeks ago. And I said at the time that this had been a plant that had been on my wish list for a while, and I was like, I can't remember why I took it off my wish list. And the reason that I did take it off my wish list is because it is in fact a crawling plant, and I just don't have that much space for crawling plants at the moment. They take up so much room because you need to grow them in big long trough planters. So I'm going to use this one as a little experiment, and if it doesn't work, I will find this plant a better home. But I'm going to try and convert this plant from a crawler to an upright plant. I've never done that before, and I'm not quite sure how it will work, and if it will work, and if the plant will indeed be happy that way. If the plant is really suffering and fighting against it, as I say, I will try and rehome the plant. But yeah, like as I say, even my Philodendron Dean McDowell, which is arguably one of my favourite plants, I am starting to think like, I don't know, I don't want to say it, but I might chop it up and get rid of it, rehome it, because unless this works, because then I will absolutely convert that one to a climbing plant as well. But yeah, I just don't have the space for it, and it is pushing other plants out, and yeah. But yes, that is the plan for this one at the moment. I'll let you know how it goes. And then another new one, which again, I included in a short the other day. You might notice I passionately hate short form content. I feel like I don't know, hate might be a strong word, but I just feel like, in fact, hate is definitely a strong word. I feel like my safety blanket is this kind of stuff. I feel like it's chatty and long form and not too like overly edity. However, again, I think ADHD brain, I do tend to go through phases of getting obsessed with something. So I will go like, I don't know, 4 months without doing any other social media posting, any other short form reels, anything like that. And then I will suddenly be like, oh my goodness, this is addictive. And I will hyper focus on it, and you'll see like 5 from me within the space of a week. And that's kind of where I'm at the moment, weirdly. But I did an unboxing video from Eastern Tropicals, which again, like if you want to go watch it, you can go watch it. I got a beautiful Anthurium from there as well. It was such a wishlist plant, and it's gorgeous. But the other one that I was sent was this, and I was going to say the lovely owner, Sarah, she didn't know I was doing an unboxing video, and like this wasn't like gifted because I'm a creator. It was literally just because I inquired about another plant that was on the website that wasn't in stock anymore, and so she very kindly just included this plant. And I asked you guys to guess what you thought it might be, because I was not familiar with this. When I first saw it, like structurally, I'm going to cover the name because I wrote it on the pot. Structurally, I was like, this looks like an Alocasia of some sort. But then looking at the leaves, I was like, it almost looks a little bit Syngonium-y. It also feels very Alocasia-y, but it's actually a Xanthosoma violaceum. And the only other I just say caladium, but Xanthosoma I've got in my collection is the caladium lynamii. Again, this one feels so different to that. So I'm very excited to grow this plant. It's commonly known, I believe, as the blue taro elephant ear. The one thing I have noticed is that in the very short space of me owning this plant, it's already lost 3 leaves. One of them came completely off, and these 2 are obviously turning and getting ready to go. And I do know that caladiums can be they can be annuals. They will just grow back at certain times of the year, and then they will go dormant and die off for the rest of the year. But from the little research I've done so far in this plant and seeing the size at which this one can get to, like, oh my god, it is known as elephant ear for a reason. It can grow huge. I'm thinking that surely you must be able to keep it going all year round. So I think what I'm going to do, usually I don't repot plants as soon as I get them, but I think probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it into semi-hydro, and I'm going to get it into my cabinet right under the grow light, and hope that maybe that will kind of help to acclimate the plant and kick it into action a little bit, because yeah, I'm really excited about it, and it was such a lovely surprise. If any of you have this plant, please let me know, let me know how you acclimated it. Let me know any tips or tricks you've got. I would be so grateful, because yeah, it's one that I'm saying I'm excited about all of them, but I am really excited about this one. Oh, and I appear to be moving around this way now, so let's go with the next one, which again is another very exciting one, and I haven't shown you this one on my channel yet. Again, I mentioned it in a short in the last week. But I got a very exciting, very little, but very exciting Anthurium. And this is a very small Anthurium Delta Force. And I know I've spoken about the Delta Force in many videos before. I also feel like I should say, because I know there are a lot of Delta Force Anthuriums coming on the market at the moment. The Delta Force is a hybrid Anthurium. It's a Clarinervium pterodactyl hybrid, but that doesn't mean that you can just cross-pollinate those 2 Anthuriums and get a Delta Force. The Delta Force is one very specific mutation that's been created, and people have gone, oh my god, that's amazing. Let's get it into tissue culture and clone that plant. And only if you have one of the tissue culture plants do you truly have a Delta Force. I'm not saying that the Clarinervium pterodactyl can't produce ones that look absolutely beautiful, because they can, and a lot of them actually look very Delta Force-esque. But this is a true Delta Force, and I got this one from the Eden Lab, which a lovely guy called Mark runs it. I'm sure I've spoken about him before, and I got this for £75, which you might go, oh my god, that's expensive. Typically here in the UK at the moment, you can't get a true Delta Force for less than about £500, so I thought this was a very good deal. And it came with 2 leaves, and in fact, if you did watch that short that I made, I have changed the way in which I'm growing this plant already. I have had issues already, which is a little bit scary. But basically, when I first got it, it did, as I say, had 2 leaves, was quite a small seedling, and it had a really good root system. So I was like, okay, I feel like, bearing in mind what I know about the parent plants, I'm gonna pot it up in something like a really an epiphytic chunky mix, just like a standard Anthurium mix. And again, I'm going to do it in no drainage, because I've been getting on very well doing that for Anthuriums. And one of the leaves kind of started to turn and go a little bit translucent quite quickly, and I was like, oh my god, what's going on? Is it fungal? I chopped that leaf back, and then the tip of this leaf started doing the exact same thing, and I've only left it on just so that I can show you. I'm not quite sure how well you can tell the transparentness of it, but I'm a little bit concerned that might be fungal. So yeah, I got it out of that way of growing. I know this is probably too much stress for a very young plant, but I was like, okay, we need to do things differently. And I've got it into sphagnum moss. I've put it in this really quite big container that I can really hopefully allow a lot of scope for the roots to expand, but also just really monitor it, because obviously it is, I'll say, it is transparent. And literally within about 4 days of me doing this, the plant has started putting out a brand new leaf, that teeny tiny little thing down there. So yeah, they are very sensitive at this age and stage of their life, particularly as this is a tissue culture plant. So I'm currently keeping it over in my little Anthurium corner with this on it just for a bit of added protection. And I think what I'm probably going to do, I'm probably going to treat this little leaf with a very gentle baking soda treatment. That's typically what I do as kind of like a natural antifungal treatment, and it does work quite well. I'm not going to chop the whole leaf, but I am just going to remove that bottom half of the leaf probably. So it might be looking a bit worse for wear for a while, but I really want to take every possible precaution to make sure that this one does well, because especially right now, I'm also absolutely certain that within the next year, the Delta Force is going to massively drop in price, and it'll probably end up at, like I was saying at the beginning of this video, like at your local garden centre. But right now, this is considered a very, again, I'm going to use the term, rare plant. And it's one that I feel extremely lucky to have been able to add to my collection. So I really want to make sure it does well. So yes, that's the current plan. That's what I'm currently doing. Again, as always, I'll keep you updated with it. And just before, I've got a couple more I want to show you, but I'm just going to change my battery because I think my camera is due to die. So bear with me one moment. There we go. But next plant is, so this is one of the ones that I got from my import order of plants that I was very kindly sent by Aroid Asia, which, God, how long ago was that? I feel like maybe 3 months ago now, something like that. One of the things that was sent to me were some Anthurium seedlings in tissue culture, and all I knew is that they were, it said papillolaminum hybrid, and I was like, oh, I wonder what they're hybridized with. And I did finally, I kept forgetting, but I did reach out to them and I was like, what is the cross? And they were just like, it's crossed with itself. So technically it is just a pure papillolaminum, which is really exciting. And all of the babies are doing well, but this one is probably the best established so far. I have potted this one up, as you can see, again, chunky mix, semi-hydro on the bottom, no drainage. And it's sizing up beautifully, and it just feels like such a privilege to be able to grow a true papillolaminum, especially since I am so interested in Antherium hybridization, because a lot of the Antherium hybrids that I am really drawn to and I really, really love are papillolaminum crosses. They've got the papillolaminum, oh my God, that is such a tongue twister, the papy as one of their parent plants. So obviously I'm kind of thinking like long game plan. I'm like, at some point further down the line when this one's mature and it does start giving me inflorescences, maybe I'll be able to create some really amazing hybrids. The other thing that I've been quite interested by is Begonia hybridization. That's something like, obviously I am so new to begonias. I've only got, I think, about maybe 8 of them in my collection currently. Oh, maybe I've got more actually. Not that many. It's not like my top genus of plants and I'm still very much like a toddler in the begonia area. But I've just seen some beautiful hybrids that have been created, and bearing in mind they flower so frequently, I'm kind of thinking maybe I might play about with that at some point. But yeah, I just wanted to show you this one because I know I said I'd give you an update when I found out what it was. I've got, I think, about 4 of these, and I did actually swap one at another plant swap that I just went to. I swapped for, what did I swap for? I think I swapped for the Anthurium Bessier hybrid. I can't remember what it's a hybrid of. But yes, as I say, I'm very excited about it and I will let you know how it gets on. And then finally, I think this is finally, I've got more that I could take you through, but as I say, I'm going to do a plant chawsy video in the next couple of days and we can do some more updates then because there's lots to talk about. But finally, well, this is kind of a double update, but the Philodendron, why can't I think of its name? Philodendron Majestic, that's it, that I got again in the same import order from Aroid Asia, has done amazingly. As you can see, it is massively growing off its moss pole, and look at the size of the growth it's giving me now. I really need to extend this moss pole because it is kind of growing weird and wonky at the moment, and I really want to be able to get it to continue to size up. So yeah, again, like that will be something to do in the next couple of days. I think I do have a moss pole extension that I can add on to this one. So yeah, it's one that I've just wanted to grow for such a long time. And the fact that nothing's gone wrong with it just makes me so happy, because it's always a little bit of a risk when you do import plants. Like you don't know, you don't know that what you see on the day is what's going to be, like it might not be sustainable growth. Like the plant might go massively downhill after a couple of weeks as it acclimates. And this one, touch wood, has given me absolutely no grief at all. It's just been a total dream. And the reason why I said double update, and in fact this isn't really an update, it's just a crafty plant related thing, but I have been doing, I've got really into pot making again, and like I know I went through a phase where I was wrapping everything in macrame cord and like trying to make things look pretty. I've got loads of pots that I liked and I'm not so keen on nowadays, but like they're practical. So I've just been playing about with, it actually doesn't look as good on camera, but I've just been playing about with like how I can, for example, like make them look a little bit more handcrafted. And like this one, the aim was to try and make it look like, I don't know, either like, you know, like when you see like mud, oh, what am I trying to say? I was gonna say like mud pots. That might be completely not the right term. I guess kind of like concrete. Anyway, I know what I'm talking about. But this was so easy to do, and I did it with loads and loads and loads of pots. I just got some acrylic paint and I mixed up the colour I wanted. It wasn't actually meant to be this colour, I might repaint them. But I added in some baking soda and a little pinch of tree fern fibre for texture. Be aware, if you add in the baking soda, it froths up and your paint gets very, very big, so use quite a big container. But yeah, I just painted loads of pots and they just came out looking a little bit more earthy, because this was just kind of like a glazed ceramic white before, and I was like, I feel like this just gives it a little bit more character. And that's what I'm going for right now. So yeah, those are the main updates I wanted to take you through this morning. I've got so many more. I love these videos. I could just chat and chat and chat with you guys. So thank you for listening, and let me know in the comments as well what's going on with your plants at the moment. I absolutely love knowing. Yeah, any exciting growth, any things going a bit wrong. I know it is, as I say, the season for pests a little bit as we move towards the winter period, but yeah, I hope everything is going as well as it can. But yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video.
Stay sexy, plant lovers.